Charron here. I teach singers and bands how to book great gigs and explode your music career. So today we're going over some viewer and listener questions. And I figured I would start with the question that I get the most, and I get this on an almost daily basis, definitely weekly. And the big question is, Tim, how do you book all of these great gigs, and how do you book all of these gigs opening for national acts? So my story real quick, if you don't know it, I started out playing hundreds of bar and restaurant gigs. That's what I did for a living for years. Played 5, 6, 7 nights a week, days a week. And so I went from playing solo acoustic to having a band and playing festivals all over the country and opening for now over 35 national acts, including Charlie Daniels a bunch of times, Bret Michaels from Poison a bunch of times, Chris Young, Randy Travis, Clint Black, Dustin Lynch, Big and Rich, Maddie and Tay, Randy Houser, just a whole bunch of amazing national acts that I've gotten to work with, and I booked everything pretty much myself. I have a couple of booking agents that get me things here and there. I was actually supposed to open for Jake Owen, but COVID. So, having said that, how do I book these great gigs? And I'm just going to kind of explain it with my story. This is the only way I know how, because this is how I did it. But the keys to booking these great gigs and to booking gigs with the national acts, what I did was, number one and most importantly, was I set, this sounds metaphysical and weird, but I set my intention and focused on getting as many gigs opening for national acts as I possibly could. Having said that, the best way that I found to start opening for national acts is to do stuff for free. So the very first national act that I opened for was Clint Black, and it was an audition gig, basically. So there's an amazing shout out to Indian Ranch. There's an amazing outdoor venue in Webster, Massachusetts, about an hour from where I grew up. And they've been around for, I think, over 55 years, but they've had, all the biggest, especially country music acts. And they have a little side stage that's over by the picnic tables that is basically their kind of audition stage. So you go there, you play for free, you don't get paid. So listen up, everybody. This is really important, because I hear people all the time in the music community, usually people that are not doing very well for themselves in the music business, and they're usually the people that are the most jaded and complaining the most, telling other musicians, never do anything for free, know your worth. That is the biggest complete crap statement ever. You need to run the other way and do the opposite. So, again, this is what I did. To open for a national act, I went to play this gig absolutely for free, solo acoustic, at Indian Ranch on the little teeny tiny side stage, for people eating lunch way before the real concert starts. Okay. Now the person that gave me the info gave me the wrong info. So not only was I late, and I'm always early. I'm always early, but I got the wrong info. And so I was late. I also got the wrong info. And at this time I was playing hundreds of solo gigs a year. So I always had my PA in my car. But I was flying to Key West to perform at Margaritaville in Key West for a week. So when the person told me you don't need a PA, I took the PA out of the car because I was gonna go to the airport. Didn't want to leave the PA in the the car at the airport for a week. So I showed up, didn't have a PA. So the stage manager, who has become a very good friend of mine and has helped me a lot with my career at the time, I pull up to this. Now I'm playing like bars and restaurants at this time. This is like 10 years ago. And I pull up to this massive venue, 5,000 seats, and completely intimidated, didn't know where to go. So they have me pull in, and the stage manager comes out and he's like, "You're late." I'm like, no. They told me, here's the email. I pulled up my phone, and he's like, "Okay, well, whatever. Just set up and go quickly, play." So I'm like, "I don't have a PA," and he's like, totally exasperated with me. So I just tried to keep my cool and do whatever I could. So it dawned on me. We were trying to figure out what to use for a PA. There was a DJ there. That didn't work. So I just said, "Okay, hold on. I got this. I'm going to take care of it." I grabbed my guitar, took out the sound hole cover, and just strapped it on, started walking around to the picnic tables and serenading all the people and singing to them without any amplification. I would sit down on the picnic table, sing to the ladies, stuff like that, and everybody loved it. It was super cool. The stage manager was so impressed that he calls me over. He's like, "Tim, come here." And I thought I was in trouble again. I was like, "Oh crap, what did I do now?" I'm thinking, "Oh my God, I'm blowing this opportunity to audition. I'm never going to get on that big stage, on that massive stage. It's never going to happen." He looks at me and says, "Tim, that was amazing. Do you want to open for Clint Black?" And I looked at him and I said, "You bet your ass I do." He literally says, "You see those stairs over there? Run up those stairs, go through the backstage, onto the stage, sound check. You have 3 minutes to get ready." 3 minutes to get ready. So I go out there, and there's already probably 1,000 people just sitting there waiting for the first act to come up on the big stage. So I know this is a little bit of a tangent, but this is why I preach to y'all about having a 5-song arsenal, having songs that you have been playing since you were a baby and that you don't have to worry about, because then when you are just thrust upon something and you need to just go up and perform, you have these songs in your back pocket that you can just really absolutely crush and not be nervous. Because that's what makes people nervous, is if they're second guessing themselves or if they're not exactly sure. And the way to get to have presence and get beyond being nervous is to be overly prepared. So that's how I opened for, and that was obviously for free. And then that's how I opened for my first national act, and because of that, they invited us back to open for Jerry Jeff Walker, who had a hit back in the 60s, I think, with the Mr. Bojangles or something. It wasn't a huge name, but that's how we got invited back. And that gig did not pay very much at all. I think I paid my band members more than I made for that gig. But I'm losing money, but I'm opening for national acts. And then from that Jerry Jeff Walker gig, the next year, they invited us to open for Bret Michaels of Poison. And that first show changed everything in my career. We put on a massive show. It was incredible, and things really amped up from there. So what I would, give my advice to the question of how to open for, get the gigs opening for national acts is, number one, set the intention and go after these gigs. Go after stuff. You can't. What most people sit there and wait. What they're really asking is, how do gigs opening for national acts just miraculously fall in my lap? The world doesn't work that way. Go after stuff. Sometimes you've got to swim uphill. I don't know if that makes sense, but It makes sense to me. You got to swim uphill sometimes, you know? You got to do the hard stuff. And that means setting the intention and going after the gigs opening for national acts, and do them for free at first. And eventually you do a great job. You build up your reputation. You build up the amount of national acts that you've opened for, and you'll start getting paid. I'm telling you from experience. This is exactly how I did it. And now I get paid really well to open for national acts, and it's a win-win. But it all starts with setting the intention that, like, you're going to go after the festivals, you're going to go after the venues that have national acts, smaller national acts, and they have opening local or regional opening acts. You know, just find those venues. They're simple to find in your area. Do it right where you are, wherever you are. There are amphitheaters and bigger clubs that have smaller national acts that have opening bands. Find out, just like Indian Ranch. How do you find out? Google it, damn it. I mean, this isn't rocket science. It's very easy. Google it. That place in particular, if you just go to their website, they have a section that says, if you want to audition to be on the main stage the following year, you need to apply. Just send them an email and say, I want to, play the audition stage. A lot of places have stuff like that. Or just find out whoever the manager is and call them and just ask them, hey, we would love to open for a national act. What is your submission process? How can we submit? It's that simple. It doesn't need to be elaborate. Again, going back to my whole philosophy of, doing things the easy way. Don't make it complicated. Just call them and ask them, and they will tell you. Some venues, don't be surprised and brokenhearted when some venues only go through a big booking agency. A lot of national acts, of course, bring their own openers. Most of them are from the same label. So those venues are probably going to be out of reach. But you need to call the 5 or 10 venues that have opening acts for their national acts, and festivals, very importantly, and just ask them. And if there's a submission process, I'm sure it's pretty simple. I've done videos on how to submit for, to book gigs, and it's the same way. And if they only go through something like Triangle or CAA or something, the big agencies that, or they bring their own opening acts, the venue will tell you. They'll let you know. So just call them. But again, just to recap, how I book all these opening spots is setting the intention that I'm going to go after opening spots, doing them for free, spending money, it's an investment. It's a huge investment in yourself, in your own act, because the way I look at it is every national act that I open for, I add to my resume, and that is going to get me more opening spots for national acts. It's going to get me more fans by doing the shows. It's going to make me more money. It's also going to make me more money with all of my other shows, because with those on your resume, your marketability goes up higher and higher, and you can charge more and more money. So it is a literal investment. Go and do stuff for free. Go and set your intention and try to hunt those venues down, establish those relationships by just calling up and asking them how it's done. Ask the booking agent, the venue booker, what the submission process is. And if it's an audition, go do the audition for free, and just keep doing them until you get one, and then keep the momentum going and do them for free until you start getting paid. there you go. Thank you again for all the viewer questions. Thank you, everybody, for hitting notifications and subscribing. This whole thing is blowing up, and I couldn't be happier. I can't thank you all enough. It's hotter, and it's hotter than I thought it was going to be. So, super stoked. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast, The Charron Zone. That is available everywhere podcasts live. And make sure that you hit notifications and subscribe to this YouTube channel. As always, if you haven't already, grab that free guide. It's my gift to you. It's basically how to book gigs the easy way. And you can get that at howtobookgigs.com. See you in the next one.